explain it.
Question.
Yeah, what would be the best diet? You couldn't call it healthy, but for someone who won't eat raw meat and can't get raw dairy, what would you advise to someone that, what should they eat?
Die.
Die?
Eat lots of eggs. You know, that's the only way.
Raw eggs.
Raw eggs,
Yeah.
lots of raw eggs.
In terms of the other foods, though, what should they stay away from and what should they eat? You know what I mean? Like,
It depends upon the individual.
so there's no really, other than eggs, there's no really better diet if you're not going to eat raw food.
No.
No. Okay.
Well, stay away from fried food. That's your worst food in the world. Any fried food. Stir-fried, doesn't matter. Fried food is the worst.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
What are these things? Are these free radicals?
No, those usually, you have
I have
dark
some, too.
glands, which are liver, gallbladder, spleen, pancreas. When the cells can no longer generate hormones, they're no longer of value to the liver, but they're still dead. I mean, those glands are no longer useful for that glandular activity. But they're not dead cells, so the body can build them onto the skin, use them as skin cells. That's why they're called liver spots. But they're really any dark gland where the gland can no longer secrete a hormone to cause the activity of that gland, but they can still act as skin.
So what should we do?
Leave them?
It's not a symptom of something.
Nope. Well, it's a symptom that you've got dead cells in the liver, or cells in the liver, or pancreas, or spleen, or gallbladder that cannot produce the hormone. But it's not a disease.
So can
It's
you
not
clean-
going to
how can you
supplement
clean
it?
your liver?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
How can you clean your liver or your pancreas?
I've got. I'm going to come out with that book. That's a whole issue in itself. That's the next book to come out.
The fourth book?
No, the third book.
Oh, third.
Do you have a question? Yes.
I have atrial fibrillation,
Uh-huh.
and it's
What's
got-
that?
Irregular heartbeat.
It's when the atrium beats faster. It flutters.
And that's good.
It's
Your heart's dancing.
Yeah, it's been dancing steady for 2 years,
Yeah.
irregular.
Yeah. My father, he had
Irregular.
it. He was diagnosed with it when he was 62 years old. He had a smart doctor, and he said, "Stop counting."
Yeah, you mean it's called irregular heartbeat?
Irregular heartbeat.
Well, it's-
Irregular heartbeat. It beats very rapidly. Sometimes arrhythmia happens where it beats rapidly, and then it'll meet a bit, miss a beat, and then go rapidly again. And it's just an irregular heartbeat. But usually, rapid heartbeat is a part of it.
Rapid isn't a part of mine.
That's yours. All yours is always rapid. You have no cessation
no,
at all.
No, it's not rapid. It's irregular.
Irregular. Yeah. So it's all.
And it's caused by the atrial fibrillation.
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing.
Well, according to the cardiologist.
The cardiologist is trying to make his money.
Well, no, I don't do any drugs. I don't go to cardiologists. But when I did, they wanted to put me on Coumadin. And
That's
I
right.
said
They want to
no.
put you on drugs.
Yeah, right. I said no. I'm not going to do rat poison.
Yeah.
What they suggested instead, I have a holistic doctor, and it's fish oil and some things that will do so the blood doesn't coagulate.
Yeah,
It's the-
coagulation is not a heart. There's not a fibrillation problem.
What about CoQ10?
Yeah, that's another one. I mean,
Again, those
that's
are all
another-
chemicals. Those are man-made chemicals. They're not made by the body.
The body makes
Your body makes its own CoQ10, but they don't sell what the body makes. They do in the chemistry lab. It's an entirely different substance. It has no vitamins and no enzymes attached to it. It's just strictly the compound
So
chemical.
the theory is that when you have this condition, there's more likelihood of stroke.
That is absolute fiction. There's no evidence to prove that. That's a hypothesis without any basis of proof. And if you read the cholesterol myth, you'll read a lot of the fallacies about heart conditions
Yeah.
that are attributed to that. The fish oil is a good idea because the muscles need fat. However, you cannot get a non-purified fish oil that isn't purified with a chemical, a solvent. And the FDA requires it to get it into this country. So even if it's from Norway, it is all purified, chemically purified. It is a toxic substance.
So what oils would be the same as the
Butter.
fish oil? Butter?
Butter and fish. Eating butter and fish together is great. My father's now 89 this year. And he's had that fibrillation now for 62, so, 26 years, 28, 27 years. 27 years, no problems. Never had a stroke, no problem.
Arrhythmic, is that the same?
That's, yeah. So, just don't worry about it. Like, my father stopped counting. He's the only doctor that I ever heard anything sane
Smart,
that my
yeah.
parents dealt with, because all most of them are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go around here. Do you have a question? Question?
When you travel and you bring some of your own meat with you, it goes through that X-ray machine all the time, doesn't it? Even when you put it on the I mean, either the carry-on or in the
If it goes through your luggage department, the radiation is 100 times more than it is for your walk-through, carry-on.
Oh,
So
right.
carry it through. You can go through that level of radiation one time only without damaging it.
Oh, I thought it was in the
just
luggage.
the metal detector?
There's nothing.
No, that's not the metal detector, the radiation.
Oh,
You walk through the metal detector.
yeah, okay.
You walk through it with your bag on? No, they won't.
They won't let you do that.
Oh, no, no.
It has to go through the scanner.
Oh, the scanner is okay.
I'm saying it's not, there's no way they're going to let you do it. Some people are able to talk security out of it, but not at LAX. They're the biggest Nazis, fascist people in the world. So full of their power. I go there with a doctor's letter that says, my food is my medicine. I take them from the website for Homeland Security showing that all you have to do is ask them to hand inspect if it's your medication. My doctor's note says my food is my medication, but they won't let me.
Why is that?
check it.
Why are they so...
Because they're Nazis.
Oh, that's...
They don't let anybody have their, a good, reasonable
So
freedom.
the less worse is the scanner, right? If you have.
Pardon?
The less worse is the scanner.
Where you put your bag to run through.
Yeah, where your carry-on.
Yeah,
Where you put your carry-on.
You carry on the food with you.
It can go through there one time because the radiation is a low level and doesn't
In
stay
the
long.
suitcases, I thought it was the opposite.
No,
Absolutely not.
no. When you put it through the check-in luggage, that is heavy radiation. 100
They're
times
looking
more.
hard on that.
No food there.
Because they have to go through thick, they have to x-ray thick baggage. And if you've got, let's say, you've got photographic material from movies and companies shipping stuff, it's got to go through a lot of heavy stuff, even through metal. So it's a lot harder.
I mean, they could easily put their hand through your food.
Do you have a question?
Yes. I noticed in your second book you recommended not to take high meat during detoxification. Is that right?
If you're already detoxifying, I don't suggest it.
Okay.
For some people. I mean, you can do it. I have people who do it. It helps them digest protein.
That's the time when I felt like doing it more often, like I seem to crave it more often.
Then fine, do it. Some people it causes more vomiting, stuff like that. So I don't suggest it for that reason. I didn't want people to freak out.
Okay, so give it a pile and see what happens, huh?
Yeah, I do it.
Okay.
And I know lots of people that do it, but I know some people that freaked out when they had it during a detox. Caused massive diarrhea and vomiting. Which is not a bad thing. But for them, it was enough to scare them off the diet.
Okay.
To completely stop the diet.
Wow.
And not just the high meat. So, I stayed away from that problem. Because even if it happens in only, 5% of the people, it's too much.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, well, yeah,
In
Jim?
books about anti-aging, they talk about HGH, and how basically as you get older, it's less.
Diminishes. Correct.
So how would a person who's older become a remedy then?
Okay. HGH is made by the human body only. The chemical that they sell is not a human growth hormone.
What is it?
It's a chemical process that mimics growth hormone. It's chemically made in a laboratory. Sometimes they're taking it from wheatgrass. And they'll take the growth hormone from the wheatgrass and call it human growth hormone after they chemically alter it. But it's still a chemical. It has nothing to do with human growth hormone.
So what should one do?
The only way you can get your own growth hormones to continue is to eat raw meat. And that's it. It's the only thing you can do. I'm doing pretty well for almost, getting on 60. For somebody who was supposed to be dead at 21.
Oh.
Do you have a question?
Yes. I just wanted to say that there are many good things that happen on this diet for me. The major ones that happened was I used to have insomnia and exhaustion. Double whammy combination.
Yep.
Couldn't sleep and was exhausted. And this diet was majorly helpful with that. And can you explain how that works?
Protein, raw protein. Most people can't sleep because they're protein deficient. Most people get depressed because they're protein deficient. Although that I said in the first book, I said it was majorly a sugar problem. So I said have lots of honey or eggs, together to go to sleep, to help get sleep. But that would mainly that caused such a high sugar level that it just knocked people out. Like you eat candy and you go on this high, and then an hour or two later you crash. So that's basically what I would force people into. It was a quick way to do it. Most people, if you say it's a protein deficiency and they need to eat lots of raw eggs and raw meat, they don't do it. But that is the major reason. It's the protein. If you weren't able to digest and utilize the protein that you were eating before, it would keep you from sleeping properly. Now that you're eating a meat, and almost everybody can digest, 99% of the people I've seen can digest raw meat, period. 99.9%. So then you're able to sleep.
So is it protein from meat, and you mean meat, also fish, oysters?
Any kind of meat, yes. There are some people where there's a sleep center in the brain that gets damaged from vaccines, some other poisoning, then it doesn't have anything to do with a protein deficiency. They just can't sleep. I know one fellow, he was the designer and developer of Piper aircraft, good friend of the Piper family. And I was a good friend of the Piper family. This man got really tired one time and got, propeller backed up and cut his head off, top of his head, and hit the sleep center. He hasn't slept in 36 years. He has no trouble. Doesn't get fatigued or doesn't get tired. He goes all day long, and he's not badly ill-affected. He rests, but he never sleeps.
That's not good.
How did you know?
That's
For
not
him, it's fine. It's fine for him. Most people it isn't. Most people would turn out to be George Bush and go bomb a country. You can tell I like George Bush.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's so much to like.
I think most of us do.
He's got us on the wrong
I
spread.
thought it was kind of the raw fats that calmed the nerves, but I guess it was mostly the protein then.
Well, if you've got a nerve, let's say you've got a nerve irritant, then it can be a matter of eating raw cream.
Because I think also I used to have this tremendous tension in the neck and shoulders. I'd be lying there at night and like this, completely tensed up. So maybe
Yeah. Then you needed both the protein and the cream. The raw cream is the best to soothe the nervous system. If you find yourself uptight and rigid, you go drink a cup of raw cream, and you'll be relaxed within a few hours. Okay.
By
You have a
itself, nothing else, right?
Kathy, I've got so much to go through here.
Quickly, my son's going through growing pains.
What'd you
Your
say?
son what?
Is going through growing pains.
Growing pains?
He's asking me to rub his knees at night, especially right now.
That's a protein deficiency and a fat deficiency.
He's eating his meat really fast.
But he's got to eat a lubrication formula with it. The lubrication formula in the recipe book. You're going to get that when we go out.
Okay.
And finish up. Okay, just have them have that during the eating of the meat, not just after. Okay.
Does riding a bicycle on this diet have any effect on getting prostate cancer?
Anytime you exercise and get circulation into an area, as long as you have good nutrients in your blood and intestines, it's going to aid any disease.
So is there any truth to that I should have said about prostate cancer and riding bicycles?
You mean that it would harm?
It harms it, yeah. That's what
If you've got a seat that puts pressure on that and blocks circulation to that, yes.
anybody can get that.
Yeah, but if you can get those seats, that have the two will rest on those two bones,
Right.
and you're not pressing up in the prostate area right here, then it's fine. Because when you've got that, that horn coming through there, I had to cut mine off when I bicycled. I lived off of a bicycle for 9 years. I wouldn't refuse to get in a car. Pardon? That horn. You've got the seat that goes like this, okay? You've got this penis thing, this horn. I cut it off, so I didn't have it riding up my crotch all that time.
Might be a new design for a seat.
Well, now they developed, seats just that those two things. The rest of those two buttons, yeah.
Get a recovery.
Jeff Besser.
Yes, I do. In regards to detoxing through my teeth, I have a tendency to switch around different teeth. Is there any particular reason why?
Well, that's good, because you're just changing focus of detoxification. It's good, because you don't want it all to be in one area, then it'll damage those teeth even more.
Right. Anything in particular I could be doing for that? Like with the pain, I found that last time I got...
The pain formula in the recipe book.
Okay.
Pain formula.
Pain formula in the recipe book.
Okay.
Usually gets rid of tooth pain within hours.
Really? Okay.
When I take it, if I have tooth pain, it's gone in 10 minutes.
There's one of these too. I have to head out. Do you put this in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry to interrupt, but I gotta go.
Bye. Nathan.
Okay, a couple of years ago, my dad started coming down with like flu-like symptoms, and he was stiff and couldn't walk, and he went to the hospital, and the doctor said he had a bacterial infection in his heart, and I guess he almost died, and they cut open the sternum and gave him like a pig's valve and stuff, and they said it was like bacterial infection, and then like it spread to his knee, and they had to like cut open his knee and stuff, and they said it was like endocarditis or something, and I don't know if you have any ideas of maybe what that was.
Again, the bacteria is there to get rid of that decaying tissue. So you had to have that in the heart and that knee for it to go, the bacteria to go to that area to feast. But the bacteria wasn't the problem. It was the toxicity that causes the decaying tissue on which the bacteria fed.
Okay. So now that he has like a pig heart and like, or part of the pig heart and like,
Pig heart.
what? Pig heart valve and like the metal stuff in the sternum, like what can I do? Or make
Well,
from foods to
I
eat?
have partners in Bangkok which own the first cardiac stem cell therapy. And what they do is they extract the blood from the person. They send it to Israel, where a laboratory of scientists discovered this, how to separate stem cells that relate to the heart. Then they breed those cells, they send them back to Bangkok, inject it in the heart area of the person, and in 85% of the patients over the last 2 years in trials, 85% of them regrew. They had their own natural heart bypass. The body would build a complete new artery to the heart. 85% of the cases, it's gone so well that the government of Thailand cut the testing down 1 year, so now they can do it commercially. And the king's own cardiologist is part of the board of the company, and there are 7 Nobel Prize winners who have joined the company because of the incredible results. So if your father wants a natural, his own bypass from his own body, where you don't have to worry about rejecting other people's cells or fetus cells, or stem cells from the person's own body get put in there. In all the cases, the 15% that it didn't work for, or 16% that didn't work for, there was no ill symptoms. They just didn't grow the heart valve. Regrow the heart.
What is
so
that?
That's an option.
What does that cost to do that?
About $60,000, which is about half the price of a bypass.
60,000 in American dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to go there for one treatment? How many treatments does it take?
It's only one. You have to go to Bangkok, they take your blood, it gets sent to Israel, they breed it there, it takes 10 days, send it back to Bangkok and inject it in you and you go home.
Oh.
It takes about, they've been taking
have to pay
people
that, you have
who are
to-
in wheelchairs 3 months without playing tennis.
You have to pay it in one full balance?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know anything about that.
I'm not on that part of it. They're the ones who are on the primal diet. The owners of it are on the primal diet, and they want to build the primal center to get people to go to the primal center 2 weeks to 4 weeks before they have their blood extracted, so they think it'll work 100% if they do that.
Do you have their,
I think it will too.
Do you have their phone number?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know to ask you.
Do you have a question?
Sure. I had an injury over a year ago.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a big one. And I don't have mobility completely to what it was before, and it's gotten a lot better as time goes on to exercise. But is there anything I can eat that might help with the mobility and
Well, a good diet with lots of raw meat, but if you wrap a piece of meat around there, will ease it. Yeah. Every night, every other night, wrap a piece of meat around the entire area, from here all the way down to here. Wrap it all the way around, and it will help it quickly. Putting coconut oil, the fermented coconut oil, will help break down the scar tissue here and scar tissue inside. So one night you can put on the coconut oil, and the next one the meat. Alternate like that. You have a question?
So you don't eat anything cooked at all?
Are you just new on the diet?
Just another question regarding the Bangkok clinic that you had there.
Well, let me put it this way. I've eaten one air-popped popcorn in the last 5 years.
When was
No,
that?
7 years. Last 7 years.
7 years before?
No, but I found myself getting very angry and wanting to hurt somebody, so I ate some popcorn to settle it because the nut formula didn't work for me. So that's why I got it. Okay, what somebody asked me? Yeah.
Just the stem cell research from the Bangkok clinic you had, is it?
It's not mine, it's my partners who are going to build the clinic. Yeah.
Okay. So is that good for any other kind of therapy or handling of the body?
That's the only one they're working on is the heart, because that particular scientist can identify the stem cells that relate to the heart.
Oh, no other
All right.
disease.
Is there possibilities for?
There's a lot of possibilities for all kinds
All glands.
of branching in the future, but right now
It's only
there's
the
no
heart.
technology for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Good job.